Hey everybody, welcome to Ram Week Part 2. Yeah, I know, I never said there was going to be a Part 2. It's not that I didn't know what I was going to do this week, I just didn't know I was going to call it Ram Week Part 2. Anyway, rams are way over. I got a couple things to start with. Here's all the girls. I got them right up here in the close-in pasture. There's our little bottle baby. And there's all the girls. Dub, you're looking pretty good, you know it? All right, they're in close. We're gonna go out. I wanna show you something first before we start. All right, what we're gonna talk about for just a second is I wanna show you something on the electric fence. I did an update a few weeks ago, a couple videos ago about this, and I said it wasn't quite as hot. The thing was, I think there was a lot of moisture. Ever since then, this has been testing really fine. Been testing great, no problems, as good as it always has. But I had one thing, and that is this top line. The top line was testing at 1 when the rest of these were testing at 7 and 8. And if you can see over there, the up and down, I tie all the lines together. So they're all tied together at that end, but when they come down here like this over here, they're all separate. So the top one was doing 1, the others were doing about 7 or 8. So why was the one doing 1? Well, if you're dealing with this stuff, I wanted to show you, and you're not going to see it that good in a video like this, but you can see where it's tied together. But here's a picture. Notice the black spot? Burned it. Got a short in the wiring, tying a knot in the wire, caused a short. It got warm enough that it actually melted the plastic and browned it just a little bit, but that shorted it out. So tie a new piece on, I'll have tied jumper, I'll have all my power back, but, oh, sorry about the sun, but that's what I wanted to show you quick. If you're working with this kind of stuff, got a problem, check your knots. Either that or don't put any knots in to begin with. I don't know, one or the other, but either way. And you can see here, here's what I was talking about. I connect them all like this at the main one here. But when I go down the side, everyone is an individual, so I don't lose them all. I don't want to lose, if one shorts, I don't want to lose the whole fence, all right? Okay, let's get back to Ram Week Part 2. All right. I thought we'd come over by the rams, finish out there. It's a little windy today. Not hot yet, but it's been in the 90s the last few days. Heat index supposed to be, I don't know, 105, 106 the next 2 days. That's one nice thing. I'm old enough that when I was a kid, there was no such thing as a heat index and a wind chill, so we went out in all kinds of weather. Now they don't do it. How we doing, Taz? How you doing, buddy? Everybody's over here. Where's your other two guys? They're on the other side? Let's go over here a second. Sorry about the sun. I keep putting you in the sun. Let's see the other guys. Yeah, there they are. There's the other two. And let me show you. How we doing, guys? Yeah, if you're wondering on my fence, I probably, when I built it, I showed, and I haven't since. I feed from the hay bale here, and I feed just over the side. So what I did was, when I built this, it's set up on hooks so it pivots, and that way all I got to do is put that up. I put a stick up to hold it in place, and everybody gets fed. So my way of making feeding easier. And we have to do something about your pen. Look at the grass. That's the grass they won't eat. That's the stuff they want. This one too, but you can see that's foxtail. They don't like foxtail. We're gonna get in here. I got them locked to this side. I'm gonna take next day or two, get a mower in here. I'm gonna mow this off. I got a 3-point to put on a tractor. I'll mow that. When I got that done, I'll open the gate, move them over here. And then I wanna mow that side over there too. So, all right. Why is it Ram Week Part 2? Last week we covered those three. Covered those rams, we talked about that. This week we're going to kind of talk about the ewes, but not necessarily the ewes themselves. when you're discussing genetics, and if you've watched my channel, I'm going to hang you up. If you've watched my channel enough, you've heard me say it before, but there's a lot of new people. I'm going to say it again. A lot of people look at the genetics from the rams. And if you even go to the Painted Desert Sheep Society webpage, they discuss that the ram makes up 50% of the genetics of your flock. And they're correct, it does. Unless, of course, you have 3 rams and you're going to split your flock 3 ways, then each one is 50% of those. And that is accurate. But my thing has always been the girls. The girls are still contributing 50% of the genetics, all right? So where the Painted Desert Sheep Society looks at your flock as a whole, and that the ram is important because it's 50% of the genetics, I like to break it down to each individual lamb. This lamb right here. Yes, this lamb got half the genetics from the ram, but this lamb got half the genetics from the ewe. So that's why I still think she's important. Now, if you're thinking of joining Painted Desert Sheep Society, or you haven't yet, or you just have, or whatever, let me explain a little how they're doing things. I believe it was January 2001, they partially closed the books on registration. And by that is all rams after that point, have to be by a registered ram. All right? You can take a ewe. I can take a ewe that's out here that is not, say she's not registered. I can get pictures of her, send in to get her registered, and I can get that job done. Won't know anything about her history, but I can get her registered. And or I have a Texas doll ewe, a leftover from when my son-in-law had dolls, but it was my daughter's favorite, so we kept it. She is not registered. But as long as I as long as I breed her to one of those registered rams over there, and as long as her offspring has color, black and white, brown and white, black, brown and white, whatever, I can now register that lamb. And that's because the sire is registered. They don't really care about the ewe. Well, they do, but then again, they don't. So basically, if you've got a ewe, I can take a black belly ewe, a Texas doll ewe, black Hawaiian ewe, a Corsican, if you want to call it black belly. I could take a Mouflon ewe. I could take any of those ewes, breed them to a registered ram. And as long as the offspring has color, black and white, brown and white, all 3 colors, I can register the lamb. That's the way it's set up, all right? So that's the setup of everything. I'm still concerned on the ewe side. I still say every lamb I get, half the genetics is coming from the ewes. So, Ram Week Part 2 is the sires of the ewes, because that to me is important also. I'm going to start, I'll start with Tammy, the Texas doll. I have no idea. We heard once she had Nance bloodlines, which is supposed to be really great for, I have no idea, don't know. But she was my daughter's favorite, I have her. So I don't have anything on her. Maxine is another one. Maxine I picked up down in Kansas. Maxine's mother is a daughter of a Gold Star Ram. So Maxine would be a granddaughter. But the sire for Maxine, I know when he had it, that was a new one. It wasn't that old, and he wasn't keeping it. So he was keeping his other one, which was a Gold Star. So she does not have a Gold Star. She's got some good genetics, but nothing I can show you of. And that leaves me with the rest of them. I have 12 ewes. We've discounted the 2. I have 10 left. So of the 10 left, we're going to start out, let's see. Let's start out with B7. I'll take B7. B7 is Taz's mother. All right? So Taz's mother is B7. Now B7, her sire, right here, Birch Painted Acres Boo Boo. All right? That was my son-in-law's ram. When my son-in-law had the Texas dolls, he had that ram, and he had 2 ewes. Brownie that I have here is one, Blackie is another. I just sold Blackie this year. So that was a ram he had. I bought his 2 ewes. I did not buy the ram or his Texas dolls when he sold them. Boo Boo right there, you can clear, that's Gold Star. He's Gold Star, but the key was we measured him on the day they were being shipped out. And he was 23 months old. He measured 93 and 5/8, or maybe 93 and 3/8. He missed Gold Star by ½ an inch. But unfortunately, he went on the truck and he was gone. That picture that I showed you here, that is where he went. He stood as a breeding ram for 2 years, and then he got kicked out with the shooters and somebody shot him. That's the way that one works, all right? So when you're doing Painted Desert, you're raising them for their horns, they're gonna get shot. That's part of the deal. Boo Boo never got his Gold Star. Clearly he is, never got it. Let's take Callie. Callie here is my first registered Painted Desert ewe born here. My first lamb's born here. Callie was it. Callie is Longshot's brother. All right? Callie is by Thriller. Pavlok Farms Thriller. That's Callie's sire. Clearly, you can see Gold Star. Thriller is not Gold Star. Again, we're up to being raised or being kept by people that are interested in shooters. Measured him at one time, I think it was 104, 105, 106, right in that area. Never could get him to send in the paperwork. I tried to get him to send in the paperwork, couldn't do it. Thriller was sold to another guy. That guy didn't bother to register anything he ever bought. And Thriller died about a year ago, I think, a year or so ago, he died. Now the interesting part is, I did some checking, because I knew that neither of those guys did much in the way of registration, so I did a little checking. I went to the Painted Desert Society and said, can you tell me how many sons and daughters there are from Thriller? I was interested in how many sons and daughters. 3 sons, 1 daughter. Callie is the daughter, all right? Of the 3 sons, I owned them all. So all 4 sheep that were registered by Thriller, I did them all. Callie is here. She is the only registered Thriller daughter in existence. Longshot, Lomax's sire, was a son. Stu, Taz's sire, was a son, and they're both dead. And the third one was one I had here, Skeeter. I sold him as a yearling. I think I got a picture of him here. Here he is, now as a 3-year-old. His mother was a yearl. So Painted Desert ram, yearl mother, you can see the horns. You can see the yearl and the horns. Part of the reason I sold him, because I figured the yearl, for the people that are doing the Painted Desert, that yearl horn they may not like. I like the horns on him personally, but a lot of people aren't going to like the horns on that. So that's why. But he is the only son. But in that situation, the buyer that bought him from me has never bothered to change the registrations. He never will. He'll never get measured. He'll never get registered. That I don't think he will anyway. So there are no Thriller sons. There was 1 Thriller daughter. And so the best you can do from Thriller now is grandsons or granddaughters, and you're going to have to come to me or to somebody that I've sold them to. They have a few of them around. Now, let's get into the last 8, and those are all daughters of Gold Star rams. All right. In this case, I'm going to bring out the cheat sheet because I want to make sure I get all the names right that goes with all the rams. So I want to make sure I get everything right. We talked about Boo Boo. We talked about Thriller. So now the 8 of them that are from the Gold Stars. We're going to start with the other 2 ewes that I went and picked up in Kansas a couple years ago. Megan and Goldie. Megan and Goldie are both daughters of Ascot's Megatron Gold. And he is a Gold Star ram. So those 2 are both daughters from him, and he goes back Gold Rush. I think he's a son of Gold Rush, another well-known name anyway within the Painted Deserts. Let's see, who do we got left here? And that we have the 1 ewe lamb that was left over from this year. I should get to those 3 first. I have a Goldie ewe lamb left over, and that was by Lomax. So Lomax will be the sire of that. I have my 2 black and white lambs out here, and one is by Dub, and the other is by B7. And those 2 are both by Stony. So again, daughters of Gold Star. Next I have Kayanne, one of the brown and white ewes. Kayanne is a daughter of Cabela's Tombstone. And a lot of these names are older names. Tombstone, that's an older name. He's been around a long time. So some of the names I have on some of these rams aren't the current real newer ones now. Some of these are rams that have been, well, quite a while ago. They've been a while. The next one I have would be Brownie. Brownie is a half sister to Cayenne. Right? They were actually born on the same year by the same mother. One in April, one in December. Cayenne was by Tombstone, as I showed you. Brownie is by Rocky. So Rocky was a Gold Star ram, and Rocky, that's Ocho Zarco Rocky, and he is a son of Ocho Zarco El Chief, and that's a big time ram right there. So a lot of really good genetics come from that end of it. And what do we got next? I got Dub. Dub is by JJ Desert, that would get it right here, JJ's Desert Arrow J Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker is a Gold Star ram, and Heartbreaker is a son of Longfellow. And I don't have the full Longfellow name because I didn't write that down. Wasn't planning on saying it. So I'll have to go, what if that was a Visor Ranch? It's Longfellow anyway, let's go with that. So basically what I'm after, or what I'm discussing today with you is, we did part one. We had the rams here. We talked about the genetics. We now have 2 Gold Star rams, and hopefully Taz will be shortly. But the ewes out there, 8 of those 12 ewes are by Gold Star rams. They're daughters of Gold Star rams. 2 of them are daughters of rams that should be Gold Star but will never be measured. And 2, I don't know. But for me, I think that's important. I really stress that. I know a lot of people don't. They really don't. They stress the ram. They stress that. They don't stress that. But when you go back and you start looking at all those rams, you look at all the rams that were sires of those ewes, and you see all those genetics that are coming through on the ewe side. And that's why I think when I get done, when I'm holding that lamb, I'm looking at the genetics from both sides. From the side that came from that ewe and from the side that came from the ram. I think that's important. Now, some people don't, but I think it is, and that's why I really push daughters of Gold Star rams. I only had 2 or 3 when I started, but I keep adding to, and now that I've got my own, I'm adding my own. That helps and gives me more of them that way. But to me, that's just an improvement on the genetics and just picking up the genetics over and over again. And that's what I think is important. And that is Ram Week 2. Showed you the rams from both sides that we're going to have now. Won't be long. We'll be thinking of what ewes go, or I'm already thinking about what ewes go with what rams. We're already starting to jockey and figuring out who goes where. Be back in 2 weeks, and when I do that, what does it cost me to feed one of those ewes for a year? What does that cost me? We're going to go over that in a couple weeks. I'll see you then.